Here we go. It is Cooper Mays, Tennessee's center and offensive lineman extraordinaire, joining us on the Ball Report, brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com. We absolutely love them. And if you want more people to see a great guy like Cooper, please hit that thumbs up button right now. Thumbs up, subscribe, share. We greatly appreciate that. And Cooper, always great to join us again. The Ball Report brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. Hit that thumbs up button. So, Coop, you said it before you started taping. Man, what a season. And there, you guys have not lacked any storylines whatsoever. It has been a heck of a ride. Kudos to you. This is one you'll never forget, and you've got more seasons ahead of you. But you guys just had a magnificent run. We'll see where it ends up, but kudos, man. First 10-win season since 2003. That's impressive.
Pretty big time. Pretty big time. It was a long one. This is probably the most fun I've had ever, and especially probably there was a few high school seasons. Obviously, nothing's going to compare to like that, but I haven't had this much fun in college in a long time.
Well, you say it's long. Sometimes I associate long with a negative connotation, but you say long but most fun at the same time. Can you kind of put those together for me?
Yeah, the biggest thing is when you're winning and you keep winning, it doesn't seem as long. But looking back on it, you kind of just to the end of it, and you're like, holy crap, we just went 12 straight weeks or whatever, and then you got fall camp and everything. Just it really flies by, but in the moment, it seems like, man, it took a long time for us to get here.
As we look back over the years, is there one favorite moment? And it can be as simple as beating Alabama. I mean, it doesn't have to be, thesis level stuff. But was there one moment that you think will always stick out among the others?
Talking about this season specifically?
Yes.
Definitely the Alabama win. I don't think there's any question about that. Storming the field and everything. It has to be the highlight.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's look back at what you guys did against Vanderbilt, because there were a lot of people that thought after the South Carolina game that you guys might come out flat, not as much to play for suddenly, but you didn't. Why not?
I think it just starts with our quality of player and human in the locker room. I think we're all close, and we have just a bunch of guys for each other, no matter what's going on or what's on the line per se. At the end of the day, we're playing for each other, and that will shine through at the end.
Yeah, and what about what you guys did on the offensive line? Now, I mean, that to me was the most incredible thing, the way you controlled the line of scrimmage with a hodgepodge group because of all the injuries. I mean, that has to be a source of pride.
Well, I think it's that next man up mentality that we everybody in college football talks about it. So we had a bunch of guys that were ready to go in and have been waiting on their turn. So we went out there and we just had to execute. It was raining outside, so that the passing game wasn't going to be as on as it probably would have been on a normal day. But it was up to us as a O-line to lead the group and kind of set the tone.
Now you went out for a bit. How are you feeling? Good to go. If there were a game next week.
No, I'm all good. I didn't miss any time. I was out there the next drive.
Yeah, I noticed that you came right back in. What's your mentality there?
I just I feel accountable to the guys that are in there with me that deserve to probably have me in there, and that I got to give them my best. So anytime somebody asks you can you go back in or whatever, and I think it's to do it and it won't hurt the team, then I'm going to do it every time.
So I'm thinking to myself last week when Hendon Hooker suffers his injury, and I want to remind everybody that the Ball Report is brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, and hit that thumbs up button. We greatly appreciate that. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, why would he make the trip to Vanderbilt? You want the swelling to go down for a potential surgery, or you want to start rehab as soon as possible? I mean, he's going to be a draftable guy. And then bingo bango, as soon as the television broadcast starts, Cooper, there he is. When did you catch wind that he was going to make the trip with the team?
I think I asked him maybe Wednesday or a Thursday, I guess. I don't really know. I kind of expected him to because that's kind of just the guy he is. He wants to give everything he can at whatever capacity it is. So he's our leader, and that's going to be the way it is for this year, and that's how it always was. So no matter what happens, he's the same type of guy, and that's his role.
Yeah, what did that mean to your team to have him out there, considering what a leader he's been all year?
It just gave us a lot of life, and just it's something to play for. A guy comes out there, it's raining sideways, it's freezing cold, and he's got a bum knee right now, and I'm sure it wasn't feeling too good to stand up all night on it. But he like he always team before himself, and he came out there to give us a little bit of support and leadership.
How we've discussed this before, but now that the season is complete, give me the best description you can of Hendon as a leader. Forget about the football player. He could be third string, but he seems like he's a leader. Just if you can, just tell me why he's been such a special leader for this team.
I think it's two things, and I would say it's how selfless he is and how consistent he is. So anytime you've got a leader that will you know get down and dirty in the body, and then at the same time, he's going to be the consistent, accountable version of himself every day, then you're going to always look to support that guy and fight with him. I think it's very important that the leader has to do everything that the guys at the bottom will have to do. It's like basically the way I explain it, I don't know if I've talked about it on the show yet or talked to you about it at all, but like the shepherd has to smell for the sheep to follow him, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
if you're going to be a leader, you gotta be able to get down and dirty with everybody else. And I think Hendon is somebody who comes in every day and just does what he needs to do the correct way and in the correct fashion. And he does it every day.
And that's if correct me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of been from day one, right?
No doubt, no doubt. Hendon's been the same guy ever since he got here. It's never changed, whether he was second string or got into the starting position or was a Heisman finalist or whatever, and then to ACL tear. He's been the same guy every single day. So it's pretty impressive.
The same guy every single day. So what was he like last week when he couldn't participate? I'm just curious what his emotions were. I mean, he just showed up to work every day to help out, or how did that go?
He just showed up to work, was out there at practice with us, encouraging us, and just doing what he does all the time, and that's putting the team first. So, and they're just going to work like it was any other day.
How big of an impact was that in your all's mindset?
I think the impact is big, but I think at the same time we expected it. We know who Hendon is, and it wasn't any surprise out there that he was showing up for us and trying to make the best out of the situation. I mean, I don't think it was a surprise, but I think it was much needed.
From the outside looking in, it's kind of a surprise because this is the day and age where guys will skip bowl games and they'll skip other stuff that they don't have to participate in thinking about the NFL. So, can you see how from the outside that would be pretty surprising?
No, from the outside for sure. I can completely understand, but that's probably not the guy that Hendon is really.
Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts on how Joe Milton played? It was rainy and nasty, hits the big bomb early, and then if you can just kind of describe him as a person and what you guys got out of him the past week when he was thrust into the starting role.
I was really proud of there and handled himself. It wasn't at any stretch of the imagination an ideal day to play football or anything. I'm sure it was being able to throw it and everything. I know how bad it was just to snap and make sure that was all good. So I couldn't imagine trying to throw it 40, 50 yards down the field and put it on target. So he went out there and just did what he was supposed to, and I think he did a great job with the leadership. He's a great guy to have around. He's all pretty upbeat and jovial, and he's I think he's learned a lot from learning behind Hendon a little bit, and just he's kind of turned into that same type of guy every day that you can look to for juice and just just a good overall human.
So a lot's been said about his relationship with Hendon, which is pretty phenomenal considering they, competing for snaps over the past 2 years. How similar are they from a leadership role?
I would say not. They aren't similar, but they go well together. If that makes sense, it's kind of hard to explain. I don't really know exactly how to explain it. Maybe like a yin and yang kind of thing. But they're. I think Hendon's kind of more to himself and had to like bring that out of himself, and that was like where he had to learn is how to kind of vocalize and be that just upfront leader in front of everybody. Because Hendon, I think a big thing Hendon was, I think Hendon liked to, just do his stuff and do it the right way and kind of just not bother anybody. So it wasn't big for him to, be the front of the show or vocal or anything because he kind of just did his thing and stayed in his lane. Joe has never been shy about that. He's a Florida guy, so they're a little bit different. So he's always been okay with the spotlight and the shine and all that. So I think he's kind of learned from Hendon about how to, kind of just dial it back and take it all in. And then I think Hendon's kind of learned a little bit from him how to kind of be vocal and jovial and everything, whatever you want to call it, out front.
I want to remind you the Vol Report with Cooper Mays is brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com, cityheatandair.com. Know that integrity matters at City and that if you need that service done, they'll do it. If you need a new unit altogether, they'll tell you, but you know that they're going to do right by you because they've been in the Knoxville area for over 50 years. So if you're in Knoxville, City Heating and Air Conditioning. So with Joe Milton, how confident are you moving forward? This team can have success and whatever remains for the rest of the season and then possibly in the next year. What are your thoughts?
I'm super confident. I've been very vocal about that. Anytime anybody's ever asked me, I'm a big Joe fan. So, we all are, and I think everybody's got a lot of faith in Joe and just knowing what he can do. And I think he showed a lot of it this year already.
Yeah, I'm wondering. There were a couple of overthrows, but Hendon had that issue too. How fixable? I mean, ball up and down. I mean, how fixable are some of those things?
I'm sure it's not an issue. I mean, if you guys could, if anybody was there last night, they understand how
Okay.
crazy it would be to throw like in those conditions. Like the wind was howling and it was raining sideways. I mean, I wouldn't have even expected him to throw it past 40 yards, just even with the routes that we were running. Like it was raining that crazy. So for him to even get the ball out there in anywhere remotely close to the receiver was honestly impressive.
So, how bad was it? Because it's kind of tough to tell sometimes, but it sounds like it may have been a bigger issue. And you touched the ball on every play. I mean, how bad was it?
It was the whole game. It was like a steady, consistent rainfall the whole game. Like there was not a time where it slowed up or anything. It was a consistent like downpour in the stadium. It was bad.
As far as a game condition, I mean, where does that rank among the worst for a center?
That's probably. I mean, thankfully in my career I haven't played in a bunch of like bad, rainy weather. But that's probably the worst game day experience I've had as far as weather as a center.
Gotcha. Josh Heupel called this a culture win. What do you think he meant by that?
I think it just kind of shows who you are. If you can, I think he's basically pointing towards it shows what the team's made of. I'm sure a lot of people were questioning our chemistry or whatever it was, and if we were going to come out and play, like we normally do. And I think it was good for just our program and our team to show up and show out the way that we did.
Were you ever worried that this team might lose sight of its winning ways headed into the Vanderbilt game?
No, I wasn't really worried because I kind of know who we are, and I've seen us bounce back all year. But I mean, I can understand why people would question that as fans because they don't really know the the quality of people that we have all throughout the building on all levels. But I knew who we are, and I think our coaches knew who we are, and I think our players knew who all of us were. So we didn't really have any doubts. I don't think.
What was the moment last week where you? What was the moment last week, Cooper, in which you said, "Hey, we're good. We're going to be fine against Vanderbilt"?
I never really even had a moment. I kind of just knew it. I've never really lost hope and had to switch back. I've kind of always knew who we were. I think South Carolina we didn't play like who we were, but I didn't have a question that we were going to bounce back.
What do you like more as an offensive lineman? Do you like when Jalen Hyatt's catching 200 yards through the air and 2 or 3 touchdowns? Or do you kind of like what happened against Vanderbilt, where you control the line of scrimmage, you have long runs? It feels like you guys could rip off an 80-yard run at any time. I mean, offensive linemen used to prefer that, but in this day and age of football, I'm curious what you prefer.
I like to win. I don't really doesn't really matter to me. We can do whatever we can. We got 10 of them. Whatever way we did it, passing, running. I think we're pretty. As far as numbers go, I don't know the difference of numbers and the comparison between it, but I feel like we had a pretty good running stat all year. I don't know what the exact numbers were, but I feel like we did pretty good running.
I really felt like in our last couple of minutes, I felt like the defense came to play early, and they had their struggles against South Carolina. What did you think of their performance?
Oh, it was lights out. They didn't give a point all game. It was a big road shutout. So they set the tone early. We went out there and scored fast. They stopped them on third downs and gave us good field position all night. Shout out to special teams. We had a big return. So I think we were quick. We were clicking on all cylinders.
So, did you get a pretty good feeling that sounds like the whole team, but in particular the defense after the frustrations in Columbia, you got a good feeling that they were ready to respond last week?
I mean, I went out there and kind of just we scored and then we came back out. Did we get the ball first? I think we got the ball first, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we went out there and scored fast, like we always do. They went out there and they shut them down. So kind of after that, you never really know what's going to happen in the game until the ball's really put down. And those first 2 drives where they stopped them, I think that gave them a lot of juice and kind of just set the tone for where the night was going to go.
What is the longest you have seen Joe Milton throw a football personally?
I couldn't give you like a yard, like a by the yard stick measurement, but I've seen him throw it 70 yards in the air for sure. I don't know how far past 70, but I know he's hit at least 70.
Like easily. The one touchdown pass in the rain was like
It looks
65.
like any yeah, it looks like any other quarterback. Like it's not like he like really tries to put his all into it. Like he looks like every other quarterback's throw on a deep ball, but it just goes like 15 yards farther.
Yeah, I would argue it looks better than most quarterback. I mean, just the way the ball pops out of his hand. And again, I mean, we've talked through the year. You know football, obviously, and you like it top to bottom. But you talk about just physical ability. He has to rank right up there with anybody on this on this team, just in raw potential ability.
Yeah, you probably won't find another quarterback like him in the next however many years in college football. There's not a lot of people that can just throw that far. It's just not. It doesn't happen. The Lord doesn't make them like that all the time.
No,
Not at all.
no, he's the type of guy that if he wanted to like go on tour, like those trick shot professionals
Oh,
with golf, he could do that. Just how far he throws the ball.
oh yeah, yeah. No, he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, pretty phenomenal. Coop, great season, man. Absolutely fantastic season. Kudos to you,
Sure.
and we'll keep talking. There's an outside shot, college football playoff. If things fall in the exact right spot, there's going to be a fantastic bowl game. So we look forward to continuing the conversation. But want to take a moment just to congratulate you and 10 wins, first time since 2003. Just phenomenal, man. Kudos.
Appreciate it. No doubt.
The Vol Report with Cooper Mays is brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning, cityheatandair.com. Integrity matters. Get the right service for your home. That's the Vol Report with Cooper Mays, a presentation of Off the Hook Sports.